Greeting. How are you, Madam Nana Abena James? How are you now in Tanzania? Habari gani hapo Tanzania?
Nzuri sana na wewe.
Ni nzuri sana hapa Marekani. I hope you are doing a great time now in Tanzania. I'm doing very well
Yes,
now here in the US. And today we are thank you for the accepting my invitation for the second time to be here at Kidodi Podcast. And today, last time we covered a little bit about Pan-Africanism and with a number of issues related to um, you and Pan-Africanism activists in Tanzania. So today we are going to
yes,
cover subject related to Merita Technology, which the company is a co-founder with your husband. First and
yes.
foremost, the name Merita. Merita, where this name coming from? It's quite
Oh,
very
the
unique name. It's quite very unique name in terms of
mm-hmm,
Merita, and I
mm-hmm,
hope my audience will love to know exactly how you create this name Merita.
mm-hmm. Okay. Merita is an ancient African word from the ancient Kemetic language, and Meri means beautiful, and Ta means land. So together is beautiful land, and we chose to name our software development company um, using those words combined.
Oh, really? That means this name
Yes,
is very ancient name. It's from Egypt or from
it's
where across entire world? Is that Egypt?
yes, it's the ancient, not the Egypt today, but it's the ancient Egyptian language.
What,
Yes.
what that language means for Merita is a Coptic language because I know
No,
Egypt.
well, yeah, we translated. We my husband and I, we did learn to read the Medu, which they call the hieroglyphics. And in learning to read that, we came across the words. And so knowing that our love for the continent of Africa, from where our ancestors came from, is embodied in that word. So we've decided to name our company Merita, which is beautiful land.
Beautiful land. Thank you very
Yes,
much, Madam. Really is a
you're
very
welcome.
beautiful words, Merita. So let me move on to area where I believe you've been involved in industry of technology with you and your husband for the last 40 years. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, since US, Canada, I believe so. I can adding that too, because you starting that area and then end up now in Tanzania. Before that was in you have offices of Merita Technology and Software in Kenya as well. You have offices probably in Ghana, don't you?
We actually, our operation in Africa started in Ghana, but currently we do not have our office there any longer, but we have relationships with a few companies in Ghana where we work on projects, within their capacity.
Okay. What inspired you to start IT company and what motivation lead you to enter the technology industry? My audience, after, well, there's a reason why someone can say, I love to be in technology. There's a reason why I can be engineer. What's the reason why inspire you and your husband to be in technology?
Well, it actually comes from my husband, because since he was in elementary school, he was very interested in the sciences, and and so over the years, his studies, and when he went to high school and college, It was focused on technology, and he's also a very creative person. And being a software developer, you are in that creative space. And so, yes, so putting the two things together, he started to write computer applications and working for a few companies here and there. He did realize that, he's subjected to the parameters that the companies set. And so his creativity was a little bit contained, let me say it that way. And so he decided to start his own company where he can then just unleash his creativity and create whatever solutions he wants, or whatever solutions he sees that it would be beneficial to either society or to the companies. And so that's how we started with our own software development company.
You began your IT entrepreneur in the United States. That correct?
Yes.
Where the IT sector involved significant government regulation, security, and compliance. Could you please share your experience starting this type of business there, and what challenges success did you encounter? You start here in the United States first, right?
Yes.
Can you
Mm-hmm.
tell us, the
Mm-hmm.
audience here, to learn from you? Any
Mm-hmm.
business
Mm-hmm.
has some sort of challenge and success.
Mm-hmm.
Share your success and challenges.
Okay, so actually, I find registering a company in the US is very easy. A lot of the steps are online, instructions are online, and so it's very easy to create your startup and
Mhm.
to be compliant, actually. So um, that I consider was a successful move. And a- but as far as challenges, and I think it's just across the board, marketing yourself, because in some areas it can be very competitive. So, appealing to clients, and then us being African descendants in the US was also in some cases a challenge, because we find when we would send our portfolio to some companies, we get the meeting, and then when we show up to the meeting, the
Mhm.
energy changes. So we find that just really getting the projects that we know we can handle, marketing ourselves, those I would look at as the biggest challenge.
Can you describe, if you're talking about people of color, has really been
Mm-hmm.
kind of challenge in the US? Can you be more specific in terms of the IT technology? You know why I'm coming up to these questions? Because, as you said, it's easy to register everything online, processes very smoothly according to, but there is a challenge. Do you believe a minority does not have some sort of vacuums to move forward into this business in
Yes,
US? Is
yes,
there any reason
yes.
why you can describe to my audience here? That's part of the
Um,
additional question I'm trying to figure out.
okay, so it's a bit complex, and I'm sure many of the people who are part of your audience already know some of these things. But um, in many of the years that we've been in the industry, we've taken on projects for large companies. We worked for one of our early projects was with AT&T, um, and we find that across the board, we have worked in spaces, in companies and offices where we are sometimes one of the only African descendants in these businesses.
Is
As
that
I
time?
told,
Is that time? Is it only you guys, or there is another minority of African descent compete each other?
no, like I'm saying, in many spaces that we've gone and
Yes.
worked, we have been the only Black people in that company. We've experienced that. We've experienced where we're working with large multinational companies, and there might be one or two African descendants who are working for that company. And even on top of that, it's women. Women are not very prominent in the IT space unless they're project managers. But in terms of developers, it's not our experience has been we've been the minority. We've actually in the state of Florida, we registered as a minority company in order to be able to um, bid on some of the projects that the government offers. They had that organization that we had to sign up with so that we could get access to what is out there. So, we're talking about this was in the 90s, even 2000, it was still the same situation in the US.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Well, it's fine, madam. Let me add in one point here in terms of
Mm-hmm.
marketing strategy. When you
Mm-hmm.
open your company, always there is a competition between level of business based on the software you design, based on the clients you are targeting. Your priority at that time was business entrepreneur clients or government entity in that particular field of software.
Yeah, no, everything.
It's
We
everything.
did not, yeah, we were not specific. If we found out that there was a bid open to the public from if it's a government institution, private companies, we were open to anything. Yeah.
Okay, and then
Hmm.
do you believe at that time did you get more government business rather than private companies?
Actually, no, I think it's been mostly private companies. That we've had a couple of projects with local government in the various states, both in California and in Florida. But across the board, it's been more private clients. Yes.
Let me moving on to one of the question here. Software technology play a major role in business around the world. As you, as a founder of the Merita Technology, alongside is your husband, what kind of software solution have you developed so far? Can you tell us here? So many years you've been to that industry, and competition was very high during that time in order for you to
Hmm.
secure business. Tell us
Hmm.
about the software you developed.
Hmm. Okay. I'll actually use one application for the company I mentioned earlier. So in, I think it was 1994, we
Can you
were
tell us
able
which
to,
one?
yes, AT&T,
AT&T,
which,
okay.
right, which is a telecommunications company. I'm not even sure if they're still around these days, but it was a very prominent um, telephone company. And at the time, they were looking to expand into South America. And so we were in Florida and they had a hub there. And through someone who is familiar with the company and what they were attempting to do in South America, and know that they were looking for competent companies to assist them, and they know about our experience and our creativity and ingenuity, we got a meeting, made a presentation, and we were hired to create a software for that would allow them in the 90s 1990s
Yes.
to start their uh, a- it's something similar to Zoom, but teleconference. So essentially, they were creating kind of like a phone booth with teleconference equipment,
Mm-hmm.
and we created the application that they use to actually run the communications portion of their venture into South America. One of my favorite projects is for a in the agriculture industry, a huge pistachio, one of the largest pistachio farms in the world. We got this project to create an application that would help them to manage their roasters. And so they have huge roasters that they use to roast different types of flavors, I guess you could call it.
Yes.
Salted, unsalted. These roasters were, um, it would take 4 hours for them to cool down, clean, and be able to start up a different type of roasting. And so they were doing that manually. And we were hired, created the application that allowed them to do it by technology automatically.
Is that for
And
manufacturing, that right? It's for
yes,
manufacturing,
yes,
but in an
yes,
agriculture sector, correct?
yes, yeah. They're in California, north near Bakersfield. And so they hired us to do that, and we were able to successfully create this application. So now they were doing it automatically. And we've also done a recent application is to assist medical insurance companies to be able to process claims and detect fraud, if there are any claims that would be requested or submitted with uh, incorrect information, and that sort of thing. And so it was for a large medical company in the US that had offices in South America and Central America. And we created a application that would allow them to manage um, their business. And so that's just a few, three I could think of right now. Yes.
Yeah, let me get out of United States now and
Mm-hmm.
moving your ambition to the continent of Africa. After many years of running a business alongside your husband, you made a decision to relocate from United States to Africa, first into Ghana, Ethiopia, and then Kenya, and now Tanzania. What were your main objective and reason to transferring your business to Africa? Is there any reason? Can you be more specific here? Because my audience, especially people watching us around the world today, they want to know what is the main objective to relocate your industry to Africa.
Okay, so we have been Pan-Africans from um, we were young. We both, my husband and I, are originally from Jamaica. And so, growing up around reggae and its promotion of repatriation, it impacted us. And so even after we left Jamaica and we were still in the US, we were still Pan-Africans in our hearts and in a lot of the things that we were doing. And so, um, still keeping in touch with what's going on in the continent. In 1992 or 94, no, not 92, 94, we actually made our first trip to Ghana and got to Ghana. We saw how close the culture and the people and the place, how close it was to Jamaica.
Yes.
And we just fell in love with the country and the people. And then realizing that our heritage goes back to there, to my personal, my family connects with the Akan people of Ghana. Um,
Which
and
is one of the
so,
tribe in Ghana. Akan is one of the tribe in
yes,
Ghana. Yes.
yes, yes. And that's where my name Abena comes from. So,
Yes. Because Nana
yes,
is a title.
yes, 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 yes. And so with that, we connected with Ghana. And then while we were there, we saw opportunities that we could contribute to the growth and development of Ghana, of our people, and of Africa. So since then, it was always in our hearts to go back and to contribute, um, acknowledging the brain drain, acknowledging what had happened to our ancestors. And so, as soon as our daughters graduated university, we said, okay, it's the time. So
Let's go.
yeah, we decided to repatriate and to bring our skills and experience, which is in IT. So we brought that along with us.
Let me
Yes.
let me touch one base question. What is your first? This is kind of a supplementary one. We can move into another questions. What is your first impression arrival in Ghana, and how you define Ghanaian people at that time when you're starting your company, and how the
Mm-hmm,
process in Ghana that
mm-hmm,
time to make your
mm-hmm,
company register in
mm-hmm,
the land of the ancestors?
mm-hmm. So the people were just wonderful, beautiful people. The place was just like Jamaica, just a bigger version.
Yes.
The food is similar. We felt like we were home. We really did, just in a bigger home. So there wasn't much adjustment, even with the language. There were similar words that we speak in Jamaica that is in the language, various languages in Ghana. So we didn't have to do much adjustment. And then also, it's African people. So everywhere we look, we're looking at somebody that looks like me or looks like my cousin. So there was very little adjustment. In terms of business, registering our business, it was a bit challenging
Mm-hmm.
because at that time, things were not online. Um, Being in technology, we need the internet was an issue. So we did experience some challenges. We had to lean upon the family that we were adopted by, and they assisted us in registering the company, getting our office space, and really started um, to run our business in Ghana.
Let me move on to, as someone that you did this software industry and develop alongside your husband. Let me ask you this question. How do you providing training for your company's software and IT product? Do you focus on sectors such as education, business, healthcare, or other area of the economy?
Yes, like I mentioned before, we provide software development services and solutions to any business in any sector. So we're not locked into, any specific sector. Our experience and just what we do allows us to be able to perform, uh, to do anything really. As far as training, we do have a training platform that we created. So
Mm-hmm.
we have a website that you can actually, anyone can go on our training platform, sign up to take programming classes, and be able to continue learning technology. We also, institutions that may have staff that they want to train, they can actually log into that website, and we help them to upload their course material, and they can
Yes.
have their staff train. So That's one of the major contribution, especially here in Tanzania, that we saw that we could make because we've met a lot of people who have graduated from the university, but still need more actual experience, in order to work with even our company, but also work at an international level. So we decided to spin up this training platform to help those in the industry get better training and more experience.
How do you compare between Tanzania and Ghana in terms of people to adapt of in terms of your product and also training? How do you compare between these two countries?
hmm Well, Tanzania, I find takes a little while to get on board with some things. As you may remember, we also have an office in Kenya. So we have operated in Kenya. So I cannot say it's the East African culture at all. But as far as Ghana is concerned, the youth, they're very um, and more energetic in terms of their learning, doing, um, you know, operating in the tech space. So we find that the uptake is much faster and wider, and just as it is in Kenya as well. It's much easier to do some things in technology in those countries than it is here in Tanzania.
Thank you very much, Madam Nana. It's very detailed. Let me move on to
hmm
Tanzania now, as you are currently on the ground in Tanzania.
hmm
Tanzania has opened opportunity for foreign companies to operate within the country. How
hmm
have you felt about this since you have been operating in Tanzania?
Okay.
You know
I
why?
find.
I definitely constructed these questions because
hmm
you've been in Ghana, Ethiopia, and Kenya. Still, you have offices in Kenya, but also now you've been grounding in Tanzania for the last 6 years. Is there
hmm
any reason why? I didn't ask you somehow how long you spent time in Ghana, how long you spent
hmm
time in Kenya, how long you spent time in
hmm
Ethiopia, but I
hmm
know you've been in Tanzania for the last 6 years. Can you be more specific here to answer this question in terms of that,
hmm
with the
hmm
additional one?
Okay, so when we started 6 years ago, it was much more difficult than it is today in terms of registering a company, getting all of the certification that you need, and all of that. So I even went to Brilla, was it 3 weeks ago?
Yes.
So I know that there have been improvements in terms of getting things online. But it was much more challenging than it needed to be, and I still find.
Prior, correct?
Yes, yeah, and I still find that there's still a bit more, sorry, improvement that would make things much easier for companies to start their business, to be able to operate, get all the compliance certificates and things like that. There's a lot that they have an online portal, but there's still some work to be done so that it's easier for people to get started in operating their own business here. I find young people are challenged as well, and so there is that some obstacles that we Tanzania needs to overcome to make it much easier.
What is your advice to the government when you visiting yourself as a specialist on this industry?
hmm
What you take it? to the government and telling them to change some other element of this technology because you are on the ground. Can you more tell our audience your expertise has been utilized effectively in Tanzania?
Actually, no, we have most of our projects we outsource to here when we can, or to different hubs across in various countries across Africa. And so I think that there's still some growth that's needed in as far as the culture, the IT culture and the IT space here. Um, and us specifically getting into meet with some of the government officials and making suggestions, or I've even offered our services for free to a couple government offices when I see that their portal could be run better, but we haven't gotten the job yet. So I really think though it's there has to be a lot more openness to technology, openness to the youth, because I do find that some departments of government, there is not a lot of credit or respect for young people and what they're doing. And so I think societal changes is really um, what I would say is needed, and we just have to keep pushing because it's something that's coming. You know what I'm saying? Technology is a part of everything these days.
Of
So,
course, yes.
yeah, society has to
Adapt.
embrace it. Hmm. Yeah.
Has to embrace and
Yep.
adapt into,
Yep.
especially young
Yep.
people of today, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Well, it's very amazing one. Let me move on to one area here. Based on your experience in IT and software development, Tanzania has become important hub. I believe Kenya is
Mm-hmm.
hub, Ghana is hub, Ethiopia is hub, but all of them has a difference in between. That's correct?
Mm-hmm.
For business,
Mm-hmm.
what challenge and success you experience helping transform the IT and software landscape to the people of Tanzania? If you compare
Mm-hmm.
between Kenya, within part of the East African community, and Ethiopia and
Mm-hmm.
Ghana, you can see the difference between. Tell us, your
Mm-hmm.
audience here, how you feel about Tanzania in these particular
Mm-hmm.
questions.
Yes. So it is very similar to the answer I just gave. You do find a segment of the youth um, who are curious and interested and excited about technology. Um, but I do think that society definitely needs to support that. Um, the talent I see across the continent is amazing. But the environment has to also support ingenuity, support creativity in spaces that historically they might not have the experience, or they might not operate. You know what I mean? So,
Yes,
I mean, M-Pesa, mobile money transfer, was invented by a young man in Kenya, you
absolutely.
know?
Yes,
Right. So I know that there are talents here. I know that there are talented, creative people. You know what I'm saying? And so the society just has to support that, give them the space for them to grow and to create. And we will eventually be able to fix our own problems instead of looking outside to develop, quote unquote, develop nations to solve our problems. We who are on the ground knows best what our needs are, you see? And when you couple that with the experience that people like us are bringing, and then when you add that to the technology that's available, we can solve our own problems. There's no reason why government of any country should hire a technology company from another country to come, you know what I mean? And to set
Yes.
up things in their country. Some stuff should be really done from those who are here. Encourage them, support them, make it easy to register a business, make it easier to get funding, right? Make it easier to get these bids from government and from large companies so that SMEs, who is the backbone of every economic society or every society economically, sorry, SMEs, small business, they're the backbone.
Yeah.
Support them and we'll be able to do so much more by ourselves for ourselves.
Let me ask you one of the area here. Have you ever arranged or meetings or training for young people in Tanzania to see their impact and insights about technology? Have you?
Yes, yes.
And what
We
is the
actually,
impact? What is the impact you see from these young people? And what area
okay.
they are looking for in technology?
Okay. So we've offered, as I told you, because we came to Tanzania and saw the need for additional training, we have actually offered training. And so we've had people, Tanzanians, come into our office and sign up for the training from our website. The thing that was a hindrance was funding. So we had over 23 people applied to take the training, but only 9 could afford to pay for it. And we actually, our course was the same price as the courses that VETA offers. So we made sure that we were doing it according to what the economy could sustain. We offered it at the same price as Beta, but only 9 people out of the 23 was able to pay for it. Everybody was asking for a scholarship, you know? And
Yes.
so just to give you an example of the need, the excitement that we saw in the youth. We also have an MOU with the University of Dar es Salaam, co-ICT department. So we have made ourselves available to offer training, to offer internships. We've offered internships as well. So we have been doing our best to support the young people in expanding their knowledge and experience in technology.
Artificial intelligence is a key sector right now across entire globe. What we're calling AI, correct?
Yes.
Shaping the next generation of technology worldwide. How is Merita Technology embracing AI and how you incorporating into training and services in Tanzania and other location in African continent? How do you define AI in terms of future workplace
Yes.
as well?
So it is a part of the technology expansion and growth. It does contribute to development. It does make some things easier and quicker. And we are using AI in the solutions that we create. That being said, as my husband always reminds us and people, that it's artificial intelligence. It's not going to run the world without us. It needs human beings. And so it's a tool. And Africa needs to realize that it is just a tool so that we can still control what happens in our society, who does what, and we are at the end of the day accountable for what happens. And so we're excited to participate in various AI projects and you know do use it.
Okay, it seems to be we're having some technical issue here. You don't,
Okay.
yeah, can you having some, because you don't come up on the camera correctly. I
Ah,
don't know what
okay.
is going on in your end. Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, I think I can see myself. I'm not sure.
okay, let me moving on to the last two questions here in terms of our discussions. As you look ahead, what your next step, especially you consider eventually retiring after many years in IT uh, industry. What is your next steps?
Okay, so um, I before I retire, which is very close by, um, I do intend to ensure that we've left a legacy in the IT industry. So there's a few solutions that we are producing right now that I know will help various bodies to continue to help society in many ways. I also, there's a few things that I would consider my passion, which is helping um, us, the descendants of Africans out there, to repatriate. So I will still be doing that, while even when I retire. Um, and one of my dreams is to just go to different countries in Africa and to see our software solution being used, all across the continent, and to see many of us who've been outside there for so many years come back home and contribute to the growth and development of this continent.
Finally, how do you see the future of Africa in terms of software and IT technology development?
Hmm.
What message and
Hmm.
advice will you like to share with the young people entering to the digital era? It's not only young people they advise, but also
Hmm.
the government, the business institutions, and others.
Hmm. Well, the advice would be um, to embrace it, just like anything else, learn it, find a way to use it to make our lives better, because Africa is the most beautiful place with so many beautiful people and so much opportunity to do more and to do better for ourselves. Because one of my motto is by us for us, you know? And so we have to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of our own backyard. And so I would encourage people to still have that in their mind, at the forefront of their minds, and we'll be unstoppable. You look at current day Egypt. The pyramids are there. It can never be duplicated, even with all of the technology that we have. You know, you have
Absolutely.
so many monuments in West Africa and Benin, in Southern Africa, that today, just so many different engineering feats. So yeah, we can go back to those days when we're creating things that nobody else can, you know?
Of course, yes. Final
Yeah,
thought to our audience. What you love, what you want to leave behind here to our audience today,
yeah.
and then how
Um,
people can feel about you as Nana Abena James, someone that relocated to Africa. What you give to the people of Tanzania and the people of African continent, as
mhm,
long as you are Pan-Africanist yourself.
mhm.
What you can take to
My
people?
parting words, yes.
Yes,
Um, it's love ourselves. Really. We have to love ourselves and be confident in who we are and where we come from. and to know that we are wonderful, powerful beings. And we can do what we need for ourselves, and we should encourage the young people, encourage women to excel in technology, in science, because we are a valid part of the society as well.
Okay.
And look to each other. If I can't do something, go to my neighbor. I don't have to go across the waters to some foreign land. You know what I mean? That's the I think that's the foundation of Pan-Africanism. Julius Nyerere is one of my heroes. And he opened up the doors to Tanzania, to many other African countries when they were struggling for independence. And I just think that not just Tanzania, but all of Africa needs to remember that. Take care of ourselves, help each other, love ourselves, and we'll succeed.
Thank you very much, Madam Nana Abena James, for coming again to my Kidodi podcast. It is my profound happy to be with you and having you here for this second episode for our discussion today. Particularly, we cover subject related to Merita Technology and Software industry in your company across an African continent. It is my pleasure again. Thank you very much for joining with me in Tanzania, directly from Dar es Salaam. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Best
much for having
wishes,
me.
best
Thank
wishes,
you.
and
Yes.
I look forward to welcome you again for other episode in the future. Take care of yourself
Yes.
and stay healthy in Tanzania right now.
Thank you so much. It was
Bye
a
bye.
pleasure. Bye bye.
Again, it's my pleasure and likewise. Thank you. Bye bye from now.